Awesome. Tuesday market breakdown. Here we go. So, essentially, yeah, we're basically still where we need to be. We have had some nice little pullback at the moment on the DXY. It was looking like a potential short-in opportunity, but decided not to take it. There was this sort of price action here that I was looking at, but then I thought, nah, no, I'm not really bothered because buy is going to be so much better. So I was just basically looking at that a bit more clear on the 1 hour, and then if I just draw on the bottom of it, the structure comes out a little bit better. So I was looking at this little bit of price action, and this is where we are right now with the DXY. So if essentially I would take the trade here when the candle closes in 15 minutes if it closes, take it there, and then essentially we'd have a nice little run down to around about this low or further. So there'd be a nice little run in there, to be honest. But to be honest, this is not really the trade I wanted. It's just I was eyeing it up and I thought, that looks pretty cool. Looks like a good trade. But at the moment, yeah, like I said, the trade I'm actually looking for is down here. I want to see price commit, get that pull back down, and then go. This can start pulling up, and then we can have a near miss to this low. So that's one of the reasons why I just decided, I'll stay out of this position. Even though it's a 5-6% position, the risk I'm taking is much greater because it can just extend. We have the little price point here, and then if we tap into that price point and start to reject, that's different. But from here, it's not really something I want to get involved in. So like I said, DXY is not something that I do trade, and there's only one broker that I use that do allow me to trade with them, but it's not something that I do trade. If you do want to know how to trade DXY and what brokers do allow it, funding companies and so forth, I can let you know in the comments. But yeah, I don't trade the DXY. I just trade what it correlates with. Coming to this override, the high value area, mass psychology zone over here, waiting for price to tap into that, and then I'll be looking to go long. GBP Aussie. GBP Aussie was one which I thought was really nice this morning. So looking at this, we've had that nice correction continuation. Did get out of my long position only because I wanted to free up some space for some better trades. So it's just a personal preference thing. I think I got out of the position roughly around about here for about 5%. So I think it was roughly around about here. 4 point something percent, 5%. But yeah, so it was roughly around about here, and then I just got out of the position. So even though this is probably still going to probably make its way up higher, and it is a solid position, I will just wait for the next correction later if I have a position space open. At the moment, I just wanted to take profits and leave it as it was. Also close my EA position, which, to be honest, these positions are solid. They have so much potential, but I just think at the moment in time, I'll be more than happy to be a bit more patient with them. This is solid, and so is this. There's more than enough now for this to fly and go up all the way up to here or even further. So then we'll be looking at Aussie US dollar. Aussie US dollar has decided to decline. So right now I'm still being extra patient with this. I'm waiting for something to form, maybe a small pullback, and then I can be able to go short. So, at the moment there's nothing really there. Hopefully we do get some sort of structure where, maybe there's something like this, and then I'll able to, get involved in something and then understand that this could potentially happen as well. But at the moment, I think, right now there's some solid pairs on the table. It's nice that we're getting that Aussie USD dollar commitment. Doesn't matter that I'm not involved at the moment, and I think if people do feel like they've missed something, there's a level of FOMO that you need to acknowledge. You're not missed out, because if this run does commit and comes all the way back down here, or even to this low, there's still huge risk reward to be made. For example, let's just say that you're able to catch a refined entry, which I'll just mark on the charts right now over here, and let's just say it pulls back and you get refined entry around about, let's say, 15 pips. Even to this low here, that's about 30%. To this low here, that's another 11%. That could be 1%. There could be a scale on your account as well if you're trading 1%, and then even to there. And then if we do go, that's just a heart attack right here. 57%. So a lot of massive opportunity. You just have to be very patient and then position yourself strategically in the market at the right time, and then you're going to be raking in the rewards. GBP USD is the next one. I think GBP USD as well, I'm still waiting for this, even though we have had that little tap in there, which we can see with GA and EA. It's not something that I just want to jump in straight away. I think I'm not really convinced that there's an entry for me at this point. I think I'm just going to wait a little bit more with this corrective price. I think, you know, one more solid push up, push back down. You know, we could even make our way to these highs here, which I think is very possible with how the GBP is moving, and it could even just go. But I think really and truly, if this taps into here and then I see a level of rejection, I'll be looking to go long. That's basically how I'm looking to take GU. If this rejects and comes down here, then yeah, of course, take a message from the market and I'll go short and then maybe look for a long position down here somewhere. But for now, I think keep it very simple. Potential long position here, potential long position here. If it comes back up here, potential short, potential short. Simple as that. Just play in the range. Aussie CAD, another one which I think, you know, just like Aussie US dollar, I'm waiting for that pullback. If we do get that pullback, it's going to be great. You know, right now this is acting like GA was a couple of weeks ago. You know, I would like to see some sort of something like that. You know, who knows? Perhaps maybe it might be a little bit larger, but you know, if I get something like this, that's perfect. I'll be looking to go in short. If I don't get that and it just kind of, you know, corrects like this, then I'll evaluate it and wait for maybe a phase line entry and get involved in somewhere there. Or, you know, essentially if we just kind of impulse up and then come back down, that's basically how I look to take it. So a few variations. It doesn't have to come all the way up to here. That's just basically the best price in my opinion. We could always come into something like this, which I think is a little bit more probable, or, you know, tap into something like that. Well, yeah, something like that. Then we just have, so there's a few variations on the table. I think just have to be a bit sharp and just have a little look at it. Just wait for price to actually give us a message. But at the moment it's very corrective, and you know, it can just continue going like this. But then if that happens, then you know, I'll be looking to go long anyway. So I mean, I don't think I want to go long, to be honest. It's not something that I'm looking for, but it may just give us a signal that we are going to be going long. At the moment, you know, we do have something like this forming, which could always be a possibility. You know, we need to understand that perhaps maybe it's not done with its purchases and it corrects, makes its way here, and then we get one last push up and then we sell. That's always a possibility to keep in mind. So, you know, bear in mind that we're not in a position where we can just sell from here. We should always be aware that there's always something else that could potentially happen and we can meet with that hook point. But at the moment, I'm quite happy with how price action is. There's more than enough to us to take a short. Just need to wait for a message from the market. And if we do get something, we can go. There's more than enough on the table right now for us to take this short position, especially if we go and look at the Aussie 2000. So yeah, essentially 200. Yeah, why did I say 2000? So the Aussie 2000 over here. We can basically see that if I go to the weekly, let me just clear everything off, just make it a little bit more clear. We can see that where we're reaching, you know, we are on the verge of new highs. We're probably getting news coming out saying, oh, all-time highs for 6 months, whatever, but let's just pull it out here. So this is basically our all-time high, and this is the Aussie 200. Now, Aussie 200 is moving very bullish, but it's not sustainable for price to just keep on moving up in this direction. We do get these pullbacks, and I think, you know, bearing in mind that we have price action like this currently, you know, and so forth. I'm not saying that, you know, this is the perfect structure, but once again, this can just keep correcting and then become a little bit more parallel. So in terms of this, just be aware that if price is just going to continue in this sort of nature, then we have to evaluate how we're going to take advantage of it, because it's not always the most well, sustainable really, and that's what we need as a as a trader, really, we need some more sustainable price action that's going to support us. So we have an override here. We have a 1, 2, 3, which is not confirmed at all. So we could maybe look inside, but I'm not going to start guessing where the line is. And then we might get, you know, price gravitate back up to the side. And then if price does get here, that's when I'll be looking to go short. You know, if the short is on the table, but we have to wait and see. Right now it does look like there's some structure forming, but it doesn't look like it's an ideal typical structure that I'm looking for. And then again, I can go on to the higher time frame and then, you know, have a little look at what's actually happening over here. And I don't want to get kind of messed up with things, because there's more than enough for us to sell from here. It's just right now we can see that price is gravitating and rallying up. We could have, if we were going to sell, we would have sold from here. We didn't. We pulled back up. We've broken, made a new high, and it looks like we are continuing to the upside. Japanese yen, we've created this sort of ascending structure right now, which I think, you know, we have a nice little middle section. I think the bulls are going to be coming into play, and then we could be tapping into that high, the same as we're seeing with Aussie 200, but I think the JP 225 is a little bit more clear. Let's go back into the watch list. So yeah, so knowing that and looking at the Aussie CAD and Aussie pairs, we know that we are in this high value areas, but we can easily turn around. So be on your management game, be smart, because it doesn't have to sell off. You know, we have huge upside momentum and it's moving aggressive. So if it is like that, then we need to know and be aware that, you know, the market can turn around. We shouldn't just consider that because we've tapped into this, we're going to short. We can just continue going up. So we have to take a message from the market and be on our A game. Euro USD, I think, is phenomenal. I think Euro USD is a really good instrument at the moment. Same in line with the DXY. It looks like we're getting that sort of pullback at the moment. Until we have that confirmation, that we won't know for some time, because we're still in that sort of very corrective squeeze lower. We could tap into the low. If we do tap into the low and then we start pulling up, that's a lot better. At the moment, if we start pulling back up from here, we just have to consider it as a mistrade, and then we just have to wait for a signal from the market. But with Euro USD, if we start breaking low below this sort of zone here, this point here, if we break below this point here, then I think at that time there, I'll be looking for some sort of position to go counter trend, but bearing in mind that we could be seeing something larger on the table. So, you know, there's always this possibility. It doesn't have to be coming in for a 1, 2, 3 as well. You know, we could come in for, you know, some sort of structure to the ending side, and it's very corrective, and then we just make our way up. So, you know, bear in mind that it's not always going to be your ideal 1, 2, 3. We could just have a very corrective squeeze lower, tap into an override point, leading with potentially structurally 1, 2, 3, and then from there we go up. So there's many different variations that I would look at, but at the moment, you know, we are still bullish on Euro USD. So going bullish is a lot better than going bearish, in my opinion. We just have to give it some time. And yeah, so Euro USD is basically one that I think just needs some more time to mature. GBP yen, New Zealand yen, and US dollar yen. I think these are going to be ready late week now, just because ideally I am looking for more structure in them. However, if not this week, next week for sure, and it's going to be sick. And I think that's a massive mind shift as well, being able to accept the fact that I've got trades on watch. I've not got full loads of pairs. I've got a few pairs, but the pair may not be ready this week, and I've accepted that already early in the week. So if it's not ready, it's not ready. There's no trade. Just going to be patient and wait. And sometimes the best position you can take is not taking a position. So in this case, I'm going to be waiting patiently for price to really play itself out. So price to get here, come back down, and then tap into this bit, and then I'll be looking for a short. As simple as that. Same with the New Zealand yen. You know, I think New Zealand yen, I could take a counter long trade, because I think the long is actually very, very nice in my opinion. It just depends. So, you know, I've got this sort of point on over here, which I'll probably mark in here. So if when price taps into this sort of point here, that's when I might evaluate and say, okay, I might look for a counter long position and just see it through, and then hold a break even, and then if it runs, it runs. If it doesn't run, it doesn't run. Obviously, bearing in mind it can tap in lower and then pull back, which is, in my opinion, a little bit better, but I'm not going to go in for the raw risk entry at this point. I would only entertain the risk entry if we had a little bit more corrective price leading up to this override. So at the moment, looking at it, it's not really the sort of price action for the risk entry, but definitely looking at it for New Zealand yen, I would be looking for the long. Reason being, if I go to the weekly, we can see, especially like we saw with the JP225 just now, that it is looking like it could be gearing up for a very nice long. If we do take a long on this, and I'll just go risk reward on it, and let's be a little bit more realistic, because if we do get a retrace, it could be a fairly big one. Let's say it's around about 33 pips, and then I take that to the high. Even to this high, it's roughly around about 13%, and then to this high it's around 35%. So even if I took a 0.3% position, I'd make 10% on that. Very, very nice. So for people who are funded and stuff as well, bear that in mind. Sometimes playing the long game is a little bit better than playing the short game. And yeah, so essentially that's my gameplay for New Zealand yen. It looks like it could be ready at some point today for the long, but then again, looking at USD yen as well, I'm looking for that short position here, bearing in mind that with the DXY, if we do start pulling up aggressively, then we may not even come down to this low. We might just push through this and go, which I think is becoming somewhat likely, because we do want to catch people out on the wrong side. So be on your management game with a position like this, but I like it because it leads up to this structure, and then this would basically be the sort of override point that I'll be looking at. And then from that override point, I think I would then make a informative decision on how I would like to take this position. So I'd look at that, see if that comes up with 1, 2, 3, and then if that does come with a 1, 2, 3, then hopefully I can take the short position. And if I do get that retrace that I'll be looking for, let's just say even take it with a 58 pip stop loss. Sure, why not? Pulled back into here. Obviously I could find some refinement in there. I can get potentially 10% to the low. So once again, I just want people to understand that it's not about stops. I know that sometimes you'll see me using 10 pips, sometimes you'll see me using 15. It's just one of them ones where I think 58 pips, 100 pips, it is what it is at the end of the day. You're trading what you're trading. As long as you can make money, that's the aim of the game. And don't lose sight of that, because for some long time, greed and ego got ahead of me, and I was always looking for that very refined, tight stop loss. And what you usually tend to find is when you're looking for those tight stop losses, you're usually going to be taken out, and that's the downfall to that. So that's basically it for my watch list. I think it's fairly simple, straightforward. There's not really much else that I can really say is going on in the market. I think, like I said, Aussie pairs, Japanese pairs, those are the ones that you really want to be keeping your eye on. I think these indices are looking phenomenal at the moment. The Germany 30 looks like it could definitely, for sure, be either coming back down or could be continuing in this light. So this is something that I'm looking at. Obviously it is what it is. If it plays, needs some time to materialize. UK 100 is looking sick. I think UK 100 could actually be coming in for a big sell-off. Just need to wait for that to materialize. And the US 500 as well. US 500 doesn't really have much for me to entertain at this point. I think, like we saw with the DXY, with the Germany 30, the DAX, we could potentially just be pulling up higher. So not really much else that I'll be talking about. I do look at the VIX as well, which is the volatility index of the indice pairs, usually correlates with the USA 500. However, I don't trade it. I would love to trade it, just because I remember in my early days when I was trading, I read an article where some kid, he basically traded this during like some major news and made some insane money, but that's just a one-off story. Think about all those people that lost money. So anyway, at the end of the day, there's so much to look at, so many trades going on. I think a lot of people are eyeing up gold. we have a lot of gold lovers, so I might make a separate video on gold, just because I know that people genuinely just love trading gold, and I think gold is genuinely a very favored pair for so many. So I might make a separate video on gold, just because it's a great instrument. And then silver's looking like it could be coming down for the short. Natural gas looks like it could be coming up for that long, maybe. Need some time, in my opinion. It's not really something I'm going to touch. Crude oil looks phenomenal, honestly, phenomenal. Look at this. So we have tapped into this area here. Oh no, we didn't quite make it. Okay, so it's like a bit of a near miss to that. And if I look at this trend line, we have something like this. Nah, I don't know. I'll give it some time to materialize. Maybe something like that. And do we come in and then we make it even higher? Who knows? Crude oil could be making its way a bit higher, maybe all the way up to around about 90, 92, and then we get another good sell-off. So need some time. And then platinum was one I was eyeing up as well, but I don't trade platinum for that low there. And then it looks like we've just kind of corrected on the low, and now we've pushed through, so we could be coming down to the next low, which is over there. So that's basically it. But the week's looking good. I think next month's going to be a really good month, which is just literally tomorrow. So yeah, we'll just give it some time. But yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. I think I'm just going to go off now and just have some breakfast and chill. But yeah, have a good week, and keep an eye on these counter Aussie pairs and these yen pairs, because honestly, we're going to see some good price movement on them. So have a good week, and